Number one is always mindset. You have to have the faith and the confidence that you can do it and that you can grow your business and have a bigger picture of what you might be able to achieve.
The Podcast Empire, podcast mastery for women in business.
Welcome back to the Podcast Empire Women in Business series, where we help purpose-driven women launch profitable podcasts to build their brand and their influence and share their messages of impact. I'm your host, Tracy Lee Cook, and I want to bring you today a phenomenal guest who's making waves in the world of business. She is an entrepreneur of over 40 years. And this series is a great way to find out which women, like our guest coming up now, that are impacting the world in their chosen industry. And today we have someone truly remarkable for you. And as you embark on your own podcasting journey, make sure you check out the show notes below for your free podcasting resources. Now, today's guest is no other than Ral West. She is in Alaska. I'm in Australia. And this is incredible that we can connect as entrepreneurs, as women in business on a forum like this. So here's what I know about Ral. When people want to create a life of their dreams and they want to overcome overwhelm and create a smooth running business and less stress, then they go to Ral. And she knows how to help you set up systems to organize and grow your business and reduce your stress. We were talking pre-show, and yes, you can have it all as a veteran entrepreneur. We're going to hear many insights today. So join us as we delve into Ral's journey, her insights, and the strategy she's used to overcome challenges and achieve success, and the practical advice that has helped her get to where she is today. Let's dive into this empowering episode. A veteran entrepreneur of over 40 years. That is absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to delve into what you do and who you serve and how you come to this place of having freedom and less stress in your life. You've just come back to Alaska from your Australia visit with your daughter. How do you make that possible?
Well, yes, I've crafted a life where my business goes wherever I go. And I can work from Australia, I can work from Europe, Antarctica, you name it. We've taken our laptops everywhere we go. And as long as we have some signal, we can keep on top of things. And it didn't come about overnight, though. In the beginning, obviously, we were up to our eyeballs in running a business like many other entrepreneurs and like many of your listeners. And we found that, we didn't have time for ourselves, for our family, for each other. And, it's like, oh, this is wonderful that we have our own business, but oh my God, isn't there another way to do this? And so it took a lot of learning, a lot of studying with mentors and taking courses and reading books and figuring out how to go about making this business fit our lifestyle instead of the other way around.
And how much emphasis do you put on investing in a coach or mentor to shortcut that?
I could not be where I am today without having spent many, many thousands of dollars on mentors. And in fact, next month, I'm going off to Florida to study with Tony Robbins, taking a business mastery course, because there's still more to learn. You're never done learning. So it's very important to continually invest in yourself. It's the best investment that there is.
Because I really feel, and you can agree or not disagree, but I feel as though when you do invest with a coach or a mentor, because you're the founder of Ral West, Living the Dream, and the creator of a course for entrepreneurs, Overwhelm, create a smooth running business with less stress. So within those words and within the scope of the work that you do, people are investing in coaches like yourself, Ral, and investing, in podcast courses with me because they want the shortcut. They want the proven strategy. They want the blueprint. You've already made all the mistakes so that they don't have to, your clients or your members don't have to. Can you talk to us and let our audience know how you discovered your genius zone? And I love this question for women in business. How did you discover that what you've got, you can make a business from?
Well, that took years of figuring out, first of all, how to create the systems in our business. We had a business for 25 years. And it wasn't until, halfway into that time that we started realizing how systems could help us get out of the mom and pop running the business. And, once we figured that out, then it took a few more years to actually develop the systems. Ultimately, we were able to exit the business and sell it. We sold the business to Alaska Airlines many years ago. But before that, we were able to extricate ourselves from the day to day and pass the management of the business over to a professional chief operating officer and chief financial officer. So we at that point became free to have a second home in Hawaii, travel the world, get a yacht, do all these things that we wanted to do. And yet the business was still humming along, running the way we wanted it to. And we were able to keep track of it from wherever we were because we had set up systems and metrics to be able to know exactly how the business was doing at any given point in time. So that's something that you don't just snap your fingers and boom, you have that. You have to work at it. And then you get to the point where, okay, now I've got all this set up. I've trained my team. I've got manuals in place. I have metrics that tell me how the business is doing. Now I can step away. And we did. So after doing all of that, and working that same kind of magic on a few other businesses and helping other people do that with their businesses, I realized, maybe this is my superpower, that maybe systems is really what I know how to do. And it occurred to me, the more I met other entrepreneurs and so forth, that it was somewhat of a unique superpower. Not everybody understands what a system is or what it can do for you. So that's when I got the idea, and actually with the help of both of my daughters who said, Mom, everybody thinks you guys are living the dream. Why don't you teach people how to do it? They want to be you. So teach them. So I did.
Great
I
advice
started
from your
this.
daughters. Absolutely. They
Yeah.
could see something that was there and you went for it. And that's the whole key to being an entrepreneur, just really having that dream. But I like how you talk so much about systems. And would you believe that a lot of entrepreneurs come in and they're scared of asking for help? Or they feel as though it's a weakness or a vulnerability if they outsource or if they ask for help. Would you see that in the entrepreneur world at all?
I think that there's a big mistake being made by many entrepreneurs in thinking that they can do it all and they can do it all themselves. And that old adage of if I want it done right, I've got to do it myself. That's a huge mistake. You really don't know it all. We can't. And even though we can be experts in a number of areas, there are still areas that we don't have all of the answers to. And, especially today, it just seems like there's such a multiplication of technology and everything else. How can you possibly know everything that's out there? So I think we have to reach out and get support from contractors, from mentors, other people. I mean, just like, why would you file your own taxes? I mean, here in the US, filing taxes is kind of a big thing. I know in Australia it's easier, but here you really have to have a CPA help you with your taxes, especially if you're in business for yourself. So why spend the time trying to teach yourself all of that when that's not your real area of expertise and that's not what you're making your money from? Put your time into where you're going to get the biggest return. And
Mm.
for me, that's helping people to create the systems and give themselves the life and the business success that they want.
Absolutely. I mean, I liken systems to I know how to grab a lawnmower and mow my lawn, but I've got a gardener. I know how to clean my house, but I've got a cleaner. and you're not only supporting other people and their businesses, which is great, and helping communities and help the economy, but you're also freeing up your time to do the things that you're a genius at. And that's where you're the expert, Ral. You come in and you show people systems, which, have got the automations. Now, I've got to ask this question: in the AI era, with systems and automations, what do you see the biggest shifts in at the moment in the entrepreneur world around that?
Oh my, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, I think we're just scratching the surface of what AI can do for us. I know I have an awful lot yet to learn about it. I'm starting to, pick at it here and there, but I may end up hiring somebody to teach me how to do it because, again, that's not really what my area is. However, I've always believed in technology and getting automation to do whatever it can. If you can automate anything, it's better than relying on humans, actually, because we're fallible. And oftentimes the automation is going to be able to give you a more consistent product. But you can't necessarily automate everything. It depends on your budget and how much automation you can afford. Way back when in our business, we made a huge investment in an automated reservation system, but that was new back in the early 2000s. That was a big deal. And we took us a couple of years to figure it all out. And we were kind of the beta for this company with their reservation system. But once we actually pulled the trigger, we were able to just totally exponentially grow the business, reduce our labor cost, and serve our customers so much better, so much more efficiently. So that was huge. But nowadays, you don't have to have a big company or invest huge amounts of money to use automation in many small ways to get tremendous gains. In my course, I talk about getting leverage. Well, technology is a super source of leverage, and you really need to look around, Google things, get into, go into the App Store and just put something in there and see what happens. And in terms of finding some app that will help you streamline a particular function that you're working on.
Absolutely. I think we have just scratched the surface in AI, and I truly believe that prompt engineer is going to be a new job title of the future.
Well, I know our daughter that lives in Australia is a teacher, and she just blows my mind away with how she is asking ChatGPT the questions, because the responses that she gets are so much better than mine because she words the prompts correctly, and she has learned how to do that. So there's an art to that.
Absolutely. And entrepreneurs coming into your world, because you're a coach and a mentor, you're teaching entrepreneur system. What would be the top two things that you notice recurringly over and over again that entrepreneurs come to you with? Is it where to start, or is it how to set it up, or is it mindset? What would be the top two things that you think really stands out to you with entrepreneurs wanting to really set their business up for success?
For one is always mindset. You have to have the faith and the confidence that you can do it and that you can grow your business and have a bigger picture of what you might be able to achieve. I think many entrepreneurs think too small. They need to think big, and they need to realize that their time is valuable. And if they don't value their time, they'll end up doing things like you just mentioned, mowing their own lawn or cleaning their own house. And that is not the best way to use your time. In fact, recently I was on some kind of webinar, and this guy was saying, I figure out how much my time is worth by the hour. And if I can get it done for less than my hourly worth is, I pay someone else to do it. Now, the trick is to make sure that you value your time high enough. So I think too many of us think, oh, well, I'm not worth, 200, 300, 500, whatever dollars an hour. It's like, aren't you? It's like, what can you create with your business and with that time if you weren't bogged down with all this minutia or cleaning or mowing the lawn, doing your own bookkeeping. I see too many entrepreneurs who are still trying to take care of their own books. Why? That's so easy to outsource. Bookkeeping, CPAs, all of that, social media, you name it. You can outsource everything. And then use your time to work on your business and plan the future of your business and figure out how you can best serve the most people. That's how you create your value and worth in this world. And, especially women tend to undervalue ourselves. Don't make that mistake.
Absolutely. Some golden nuggets shared there for sure, Ral, because time is our biggest asset, and it can come from old programming, it can come from trauma, so many things, that scarcity mindset, that poor money mindset. And I remember being on a call with a business mentor back when I first started getting into entrepreneurship and realizing what it took. And I said, well, I can't do that because nobody else can do that. And they very abruptly said to me, and I so needed this, what makes you a unicorn, Tracy? What makes you think that nobody else can do this? Are you that special? And I went, oh, I was kind of annoyed, but I was kind of relieved as well. I'm like, I just needed that third party validation that it's okay to outsource. It's okay to have a system set up that somebody else can follow and I can check in with, and I'm not a unicorn. And that was my biggest breakthrough as an entrepreneur. And this is why people like you, Ral, are so important with systems, because this is the biggest gap in entrepreneurship and women in business and online business that really stands out to me when I have conversations. People are still using pen and paper. People are, hesitant to invest in a virtual assistant.
Mm.
And these are the biggest things that stand out to me. And it's so important that people connect with you so that you can fast track. You've got the proven blueprint. You're a 40-year-old entrepreneur veteran. No doubt you've made all the mistakes, I'm guessing, to fast track someone else's success. And, we want that smooth running business. We want that time freedom and be able to leverage our time in more effective and productive ways. So with resources, if somebody hasn't got the budget to start, what would you advise they do? Would it be Googling? Would it be watching YouTube videos, attending free seminars? If they're trying to work up to getting that collateral behind them to invest in those systems?
I don't think that many systems cost a lot of money. You start off by just looking at what it is that you do every day. What do you spend your time on? And how can you make that more efficient? Take a group of activities that are most like each other, and group them together and say, how can I find a way to make this done faster? And sometimes it's just an app. Most apps are not very expensive. So I don't think that money needs to stand between you and creating systems. I mean, shoot, some of my systems are just as simple as creating Excel spreadsheets to organize the flow and, keep track of things that need to happen. I mean, I've got a spreadsheet that logs all of our medical appointments that I can just quickly go and say, okay, when is the next time we need to go see such and such a doctor? Well, that's a system, and it just takes so little time to save you time and save you that headache. Put a spreadsheet together of all of your maintenance tasks. And, then once you get that created, hand it to somebody else and say, here are the maintenance tasks that need to be done around here. Do it. And that doesn't take that much money. So no, don't let the lack of funding stop you from getting started. You can start small and grow. And yes, you can Google and YouTube just about anything. So don't be afraid.
I really like that. And I love how you said, use your Google Sheets, because what we set up for our business will transfer over to our personal life and vice versa. Do you find that as well? They'll start getting the dinners organized, or maybe meal prepping, or, they've got a menu that can automatically go to their online shopping to be delivered. It's just absolutely endless. Your family sporting events or holidays, and booking that out for the year, a year planning. Would you advise that women in business kind of plan their 3 months or their 6 months at one time, and kind of book out that time, and diary block that time for certain things? Is that something that can lead to better productivity as well, do you think?
I think so. We do that. In fact, we have a 12-month calendar, and we block out the time for all of our travels and special events. And, if we have to fly someplace to do our doctor's appointments. So we got to block that time out too. And yes, and I use the same kind of planning and systems for our life that we do for our business. And that is, organize things like in a project. Like a project could be Christmas, and you just put it all in one spreadsheet to say, okay, here are all the gifts that I need to do. Here's the cards, here's this, whatever. You can use that same thing for planning a party, or if you're doing an event or launching a podcast, you've got a list of tasks. Organize that list of tasks and make sure that all of those tasks are recorded in one place so that you know everything that has to happen. And then you can check them off one by one. If you're not organized, you're going to be doing a lot more than you actually need to do to get something done.
The busy work, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think
Yes.
getting organized, just if you know that you're organized, you've got a system, that just creates so much more clarity, and we're not caught in that confusion and overwhelm, and your mindset and your personal growth improves as well, doesn't it?
Well, yes. And have you ever, woken up in the middle of the night going, I got to remember that. Oh, I've got to remember that. Well, if you have it all written down and you've got it all organized in some kind of software, whatever kind of software you use, you don't need to have those middle of the night, you know, shocking, uh-oh, kind of moments, because you got it handled. I've got this covered. One of the things that I use is a program called OmniFocus, which I bought years ago, and it was a more expensive app at the time. Now I don't think it's that big a deal, but it's just one of many. And it just helps me organize everything that I need to do, all of the business, personal, tax, finance, whatever. It's all in this one program, and you can schedule things out. If there's recurring tasks, you schedule it so that once I complete this, it's going to automatically go to a month later or 3 months later, or however often that particular task needs to happen, even daily. And just have it all in one place. And you have got that peace of mind of knowing, okay, everything is handled. I know everything's going to get done. It's all there.
Absolutely. And there's nothing more invigorating or inspiring to check off all those boxes, or look at your calendar at the end of the day and go, I got all of that done.
I love it.
Um, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to connect our audience with you. So please check out the show notes below so you can actually connect with Ral and see what systems could be effective and useful for your business as a woman in business, as an entrepreneur, no matter what part of the journey you are at. And Ral, what kind of message did you want to leave the audience on today?
I would like to say that you're never too old, and don't ever say something is impossible. You can do it. I don't believe in dead ends. There's always a way.
I like that. That needs to be on a coffee cup. I don't believe in dead ends. I absolutely love that. Raoul, thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast Empire today. Now, remember to check out the show notes below and connect with our wonderful guest and access the free podcast resources from the podcast Empire. And to learn more podcast marketing and branding tips, we'll see you in our next episode. Thank you once again, Ral, and we'll see you in the pod. Bye for now.
The Podcats Empire. podcast mastery for women in business.